Welcome to Restricted Views. Here we are live on YouTube once again. Thank you all for joining me. Tonight was Everton's FAB meeting, so the Fan Advisory Board, who were made up of various members of Evertonians themselves, called a meeting at the Winslow Hotel just outside Goodison Park, a stone's throw away from the ground, and they wanted to chair a meeting before the fans. So it wasn't essentially the Fan Advisory Board just talking to the fans. It was both a dual communication. It was back and forth. They wanted an arena for the fans to be able to get involved, share their opinion, share their frustrations, and also put together their ideas and put forward any new initiatives that they may have as Everton face this 10-point sanction from the Premier League and from the independent committee that was handed down to Everton last week. Everton now languishing in 19th in the Premier League. So this meeting was really called from the FAB. You had to email in with your attendance just so they had the idea of numbers. The numbers were really good. I was there. There was 50 plus fans in attendance at the Winslow. Also, really good media representation. ITV News were at the Winslow for the FAB meeting. ITV News actually had an interview tonight. I think it was on Granada tonight, or ITV News, with a member of the FAB board. And that went out as we were watching it in the Winslow, actually. So that was airing before the meeting. The meeting at the Winslow, probably kicked off around 6:30, maybe just shortly after. And really positive. The overall feeling was really positive meeting. I'll go through it in detail exactly what happened. I made some notes while I was at the meeting myself because I wanted to come back. And for anybody who didn't attend, this is what happened while we were there. So as I walked in, ITV News were in the corner. They were setting up their equipment. Again, they took some camera shots. They also interviewed one of the FAB members, which aired on ITV News, obviously. It may go further than that as well. Vinny O'Connor was in attendance from SkySports. They were reporting for SkySports. It actually looked like SkySports filmed the entire meeting at the Winslow tonight. What capacity that is used in, I don't know. Vinny O'Connor then also conducted some interviews after the meeting with the FAB board. I left. I'm not too sure if they further interviewed any Evertonians after that who are not on the board, but he certainly was there. And Sky Sports definitely had a presence at the meeting as well. Board members, so there was numerous board members in attendance tonight at the Winslow. Of course, there was 4 or 5 members, I believe, there. They started with an introduction, just welcoming everyone to the meeting, thanking everyone for the time. I'm just going to get the names of the Fan Advisory Board up because they all escape me, as I am only human. But in terms of the FAB members there, Dave Kelly, the chair, he was there and he started the meeting off. Some other names there, Paul Rigby, Andy Vernon, Julie Mackin, just off my site, and also Pablo, Paul McMonies, who also goes by the name Pablo because there's 2 Pauls on the board. So the first and foremost, they got the meeting underway. An introduction from Dave, who took to the stand first and the microphone. He really cited unprecedented times living, but he was livid but proud of Evertonians, proud of the fight and the response since Friday's announcement. He also mentioned they picked on the wrong fans. Dave went on to explain again how proud he was by the movement. He mentioned that we had a fractured fan base and it's been fractured for far too long. He actually feels that we are coming back together as a result of this, of course in the worst possible circumstances, but the fan base is now uniting. He mentioned we shall not be moved and let's stay within the boundaries of the law. So basically it was a theme of the evening that all the board, the Evertonians that were in attendance, they all want action. They all want Goodison Park to be a bear pit on Sunday against Manchester United, but they want it to be done in the right manner, in the right way. And that way has to be within the boundaries of the law. So we can't have people running onto the pitch, and we can't have anything that the Premier League can use against Everton in their case and to bring down further sanctions on Everton as well. After Dave made the introduction, Paul Rigby, who's on the FAB board, also of North American Toffees, he mentioned that Premier League didn't know what they were taking on when they messed with Everton and the Everton fans. He mentioned his North American connection and how Everton fans all across the globe are feeling this news. You know, it's not just here in Liverpool, in Merseyside, in the northwest of England. Evertonians all across the world are absolutely reeling from this 10-point deduction. The Premier League are cowards, Paul mentioned, hiding behind their rule book, and it seemed to be they created a special rule book for Everton. One rule book for Everton, one rule book for the rest of the Premier League, especially the top six, the so-called Power Six. He mentioned it's a smack in the face to every Evertonian, this ruling, the 10-point sanction. But what we've done, we've united as a fan base. Again, a running theme throughout the evening. Strength, shown fantastic strength the Evertonians have, and shown the world what our fan base is all about. Next up, it was Barry, who was also on the FAB board. He came to the stand, and again, much the same really. He said the fans haven't done anything wrong, which we haven't, of course. The FA, the Premier League and the Independent Commission are simply punishing the fans who support the team. He asked the Evertonians to stand together as one, and the 1878 have got big plans for Sunday. He left the microphone and he left his position. He said, "We stand as one." Next up, John Bain, he was the vice chair. The Premier League have done something wrong, unjust and disproportionate. We are defending our community, not just our football club. We are a part of the fabric of our community. Let's show our pride on Sunday. Again, everybody was very, very much uplifting. It was very much uniting all the Evertonians together. And there was a number of people in attendance, not just the board and Evertonians, a lot of social media content creators, a lot of Everton groups are there who have a big presence on social media and on YouTube. So this was something they wanted to promote out and hope to get the word out to all Evertonians, not just the ones that were in attendance tonight. Katie from the 1878. Now, the 1878 have been absolutely fantastic. I believe they've got 13 in their group. And Katie said they started the GoFundMe page over the weekend on Friday when the news broke. She probably said we'll probably get a couple of grand in there and we might be able to create a banner from it or something like that. The response has been absolutely unprecedented. Over £40,000 funded already so far. They mentioned that this week has been the toughest week and the hardest in 1878 history. Amazing amount of graft, and again, no one's full-time in the group. Everyone's just doing this on a volunteer basis, so they've taken time out of the family time and the work commitments, and they've absolutely just rallied. But it's been an amazingly difficult week for 1878 group. This is the biggest thing they've ever done. She said it's completely fan-led. She said we feel this is the right thing to do. We have to be respectful in what we do as well, and we don't want to damage the club's appeal. So once again, all the banners that are being created by the 1878 group, all via GoFundMe funding, they're all respectful in one way. Now, we do have Premier League corrupt banners, but we don't have any swear words on them, any obscenities, because we want them to be shown on Sky Sports. We want them to be shown on social media. We want them to be shown on Match of the Day and have as much publicity as possible. And swearing and things like that just probably wouldn't send the right message. Katie also said we have to be respectful. She spoke really well, Katie, from the group. We don't want to damage the club's appeal, which is a running theme as well. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. The punishment, it was refreshing to see the fan base and the club fighting as one. Again, this fractured fan base was mentioned a few times. The relationship between the club and the fans has definitely been fractured over the past 3 to 4 years. Everyone's now a little bit more comfortable that the club and the fans are coming together to fight this ridiculous sanction. Katie mentioned there's 38,000 posters around Goodison Park on Sunday. And they will be handing them out as various areas around the ground where these, I say posters, they are cards, where these cards will be handed out to fans. The message to fans is take them into the ground. Don't just take it and see it as a leaflet and throw it on the floor. We don't want 38,000 cards outside on Goodison Road on Sunday when the match kicks off. We want 38,000 cards in Goodison Park being shown to the world live on Sky Sports and around the world. 38,000 posters. These also will be handed out to Manchester United fans. Now, I asked the question if the board or if 1878 have been in contact with Manchester United fan groups to get their buy-in. We don't want them just throwing them on the floor either. And that has been done. So Manchester United fan groups are aware of this and will support. Talked about the pick-up points and where to pick up these cards around the stadium on Sunday. You will see them. There's various points around the stadium. Please do pick up a card as you enter the stadium and make sure that is shown. If you need more information about where to pick up a card, go on social media. I'll put it on Restricted Views social media on Twitter at RestrictedEFC. You can find the information there. Banners are being created now that not going to just be used for Sunday, but also used in the future. So they want to try and make this money spread. It's not just all Premier League banners, Premier League corrupt banners. It is banners supporting the players and the manager as well. They said three new banners supporting the team for Sunday. An idea was floated about a plane being flown over Goodison Park for the game against Manchester United. The response was it's going to be dark against Manchester United on Sunday, so there's no point wasting that money. But what they have done, they've looked into booking a plane for the Manchester City versus Liverpool game at the Etihad to put our point across there. Katie also mentioned the sanction on Everton was equivalent to stealing a meal deal from Tesco and getting 5 years in prison for it, which is something I've echoed. I said previously, it's like stealing a bottle of milk from the corner shop and getting a life sentence. Completely disproportionate. More plans in the future are coming up from the 1878. All the funds haven't been used. There is still some money in the bank. So if you do have an idea for the 1878, how we can use the money going forward, please do contribute. Send the ideas in. Get involved on social media, especially if you have banner ideas and things like that. 50,000 cards have actually been ordered. 38,000 will be going to Goodison Park, but we also have some to take to away games and to continue that theme running throughout the next few games. Ideas are welcome. We have funds left over. GoFundMe actually wouldn't release the funds immediately, the £40,000 that was donated to the 1878 fund. But some incredibly generous people have loaned the money to the 1878 on the back of getting that money back once GoFundMe have released those money. The 1878 will be completely transparent with fans and will detail the funds, what they have and haven't been spent. And again, once we have that link, we'll share that as well on Restricted Views social media. Really fantastic from the 1878. It was unanimously praised, their approach, the work they've been doing this week, and everybody was really positive and thanked them very much. Another speaker came to the stand, mentioned the Premier League were devastated by this early day motion that's being put forward by Ian Byrne, the MP. According to Premier League sources, they want to keep as much of this out of the political arena as possible. Dave mentioned the Premier League have got it completely wrong in trying to do so, because we know this will be brought into the political arena. Now Ian Byrne has put forward this early day motion. MPs are jumping on the back of it. I think it was 14 MPs today jump on the back of that as well. All local MPs have been contacted in the Merseyside and the Northwest area to support the early day motion. Some don't support early day motions just as a general rule, such as Derek Twigg, Halton MP, but Derek Twigg has sent me a copy of the letters he sent to Everton Football Club and the Premier League. He's put his weight behind Everton's fight against this sanction, and he will continue to do so and continually support the cause. The Secretary of State can introduce a debate into Parliament, and again it was discussed if we can get MPs to encourage writing into the Secretary of State to get this debated in Parliament. The idea was an independent commission independence regulator is absolutely needed to be brought in to the Premier League, and Everton sanctions should actually be put on hold until the regulator is brought in. We all know it's completely necessary. The independent commission and the Premier League are completely out of line with any sanctions that they have brought to Everton, and we do not have faith that they will right the wrong in an appeal. Ian Byrne was asked to attend the FAB meeting, but he sent his apologies. He wasn't able to make it on this short notice. Then we led into a bit of a Q&A session, or just the microphone got passed around the room, and people were encouraged to speak up, ask a question, or just get anything, or support an idea or initiative, and really just see if they could bring anything to the meeting themselves. A lot of passionate people, a lot of really Evertonians who just vented and just got things off the chest. There was questions asked, and there was some ideas. One question was, can we organise another greet for players at Sunday, at Goodison for Sunday? Much like that we saw in the fight for relegation last year, massive meets going to the ground. The answer was we just simply haven't had enough time. The 1878 haven't had enough time. We're dealing with the banners, and it's been an absolutely crazy week so far. So they haven't been able to organise that initiative for this week, but it's something they will consider going forward, and other fan groups will consider going forward as well. Another shout was the siren at the beginning of the Z cars has been reduced to about 3 seconds. So the question was, can we get it on for longer? Because it's a really good, it just gets that adrenaline pumping, and the Everton fans love it, the Evertonians love it, of course. The 1878 said they will contact the club to ask if the siren can be played for a longer period, as long as possible, before Z cars kicks in. There also was a call to the room for everyone to boo the Premier League anthem. There's been a lot of noise flying about on social media today about SkySports wanting to drown out the noise from Goodison Park, drown out the boos that are due to be coming, drown out the chants. People in the room who have got sources within SkySports said that is not the case. SkySports haven't or won't be doing that and turning down the volume. So let's hope and let's keep our fingers crossed that is actually the case. The advice from the 1878 fans, the advice from the 1878 group are that no flares are brought in to Goodison Park. Again, it is only on their advice, but they did make the very valid point. There's 38,000 cards and massive banners going to be hanging at Goodison Park this weekend. We don't want anything to go wrong. You know, a flare, a flicker, a flame shooting off in the wrong direction, and it could be catastrophic. So that's something to consider if you were thinking about taking flares into Goodison Park at the weekend against Manchester United. I think that's just a bit of a word of warning there. We had a number of people, some ex-FAB members, just discussing how the EDM is important and the sanctions should be held until independent regulator is in place, really just echoing Evertonians' views on that fact. And another great shout from a member of the audience that was there was, if we want to thank MPs for putting their weight behind the early day motion and supporting Everton and writing to the Premier League and writing to the Secretary of State, the ask is that anybody who appreciates that and is able to do so can bring a donation to the food bank at Goodison Park at the weekend, and that is a way we can pass along our thanks to those groups, to the MPs, and also it's a fantastic cause. Given an item to the food bank, can be a tin, you know, the usual rules apply when given to a food bank, but that was a fantastic suggestion as well. I once again asked about the Manchester United fan groups and have they been supported, and will they support taking the Premier League corrupt cards into Goodison Park on Sunday? And they have been contacted. They are showing their support. So let's hope the entire Goodison Park will hold up their Premier League corrupt banners, including the away end, on Sunday. A question was asked, can banners be on the Bullens? The 1878 group say they were shown around Goodison Park while it was empty quite recently, and it's really hard to put the banners across the Bullens due to the hard camera setup. A lot of the cameras and the media being on that Bullens stand, and it's just not possible. They feel it will get the most coverage and the most beneficial coverage put on the banners at the Gladys Street end and the Park end. So that's where the majority of the banners will be. The Cobblers were there, and it was said they were great to see everyone pull together. We are an institution, and they talked about a certain... Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, they said that we are an institution and really just rallied the troops. The FAB actually picked up the mic again at this point and said the FAB and the club had a Zoom call. FAB and Everton had a Zoom call this afternoon. And the result of that, Everton said they are, of course, preparing the appeal. They haven't submitted it yet. But they are preparing the appeal to go into the Premier League. The FAB mentioned concerns about fan representation during the initial hearing with the Premier League and the Independent Commission, and also the appeal. The FAB want a fan representation, and we should be able to give a presentation on evidence during the appeal. We should be able to say how this will affect not just Everton, not just the Premier League, but the Everton fans, and they really want a presence. That's something they've put to the club, and the club are obviously going to consider that within their appeal and put that towards the Premier League. They also mentioned Premier League partners are vulnerable, and that was the consensus around the room. So anybody who sponsors the Premier League, such as Barclays, again, Dave from the FAB mentioned he put a tweet out there saying he's closed his Barclays account, and he's had something like 750,000 views on that tweet alone. The Premier League partners are vulnerable, and we should be putting pressure on them. We should be contacting any Premier League sponsors and just saying, are you okay with a unjust and unfair sanction in the Premier League? So anything we can do to affect the Premier League basically was the shout. The Falcon Blues were in attendance. They said, can we use a banner towards a certain journalist, naming no names, but okay, it was Matt Hughes at the Mail. We all know Matt Hughes is an absolute douche, and he's been writing absolute garbage about Everton for a long time. He's the bane of many Evertonians on social media, and he's just well the shout was, can we get a banner saying Matt Hughes sniffs bike seats from Falcon Blues? Matt Hughes actually came out. Matt Hughes is already banned from Goodison Park. So I know that was a number of shouts on social media this week. Why are we letting people like Matt Hughes in when he's completely against Everton and just writes absolute nonsense? But the word was from the FAB and for people in the know that Matt Hughes is actually banned from Goodison Park already. Maybe that's why he hates us so much. More comments where there was no excuses for the Premier League. It's completely unjust. One of the questions from the audience was, why didn't the directors give evidence during the initial hearing with the Premier League and the Independent Commission? Apparently they were asked and they said no. They are under no obligation to do so, and we don't know actually the contractual conditions of their release from Everton. We don't know if there's certain stipulations in there, but a number of fans were really upset that Grant Eagles and Denise Barrett-Baxendale, who obviously were running the club at the time, during this time period, 2019 to 2022, when Everton had all these financial troubles and were reacting in a certain way and were communicating with the Premier League. Why weren't they a part of Everton's case with the Independent Commission? Unfortunately, the directors chose not to do so, and that's just something we have no argument against or no influence against. We can't make them actually turn up and give evidence or fight the cause. The FAB have a meeting with Everton in December and Colin Chong, so they'll be obviously asking further questions about those directors, whether they could help us going forward or whether they could have had an influence in the initial hearing. So that's something we will keep a close eye on. The FAB will obviously report minutes back when the meeting with Everton has been concluded in December with Colin Chong, and hopefully we'll get more information from that as well. The fan board were saying this isn't a solely Everton issue. The fact that the Premier League has sanctioned Everton with a 10-point deduction is not just an Everton issue, it's a wider footballing issue, and football fans all across our country should be very concerned that the Premier League can have such an influence over Independent Commission to dictate a 10-point deduction. Of course, we know the Premier League did put a proposal forward, a guideline, which the Independent Commission rejected. So the Premier League said, we want 10 points deducted. It should be because of this, X, Y, and Z. The Independent Commission then said, no, we don't agree with that, but then still found the same conclusion of a 10-point deduction. Very, very fishy. And it is a wider football issue. We need an independent regulator, and we need one sooner rather than later. Another question from the audience was, has 7-7 made any contact, made any statement? And the answer was no. No one has heard from 777. That is regular. It's not out of the ordinary. We're still obviously in the due diligence phase of 777 with the Premier League. That is likely to run until December sometime, I think the middle of December. So I think we will hear from 777 or hear an outcome of of them buying Everton Football Club and the due diligence with the Premier League sometime during December. Pablo from the FAB actually almost closed the meeting. He basically thanked everyone for coming, thanked for the positivity, thanked everyone for all the comments, initiatives, ideas that were put forward. It was a bit of an uplifting meeting. Everyone came out there really rallied and unified and ready for the fight against the Premier League. Pablo mentioned his lowest point was January, just gone, when the statement came out from the Everton board about Denise Barrett-Baxendale and the headlock and how they threw the fans down the river. He wanted to point out that there was change, and change is coming. The board, he feels Everton fans and Everton Football Club are reconnecting. I think that's off the field and on the field. On the field with Sean Dyche and the players. On the field, it's never really gone away. We've always supported the team, but we're feeling the Everton team are really appreciating it. Off the board as well, we're hoping men's can be made between the Everton fans, the board, Kevin Thelwell, if that's Colin Chong, and the Fab as well. The Fab mentioned that they've got they've not had the best reception with Everton fans, and Everton fans have not held them in the highest regard in the past. They mentioned that they're just Evertonians. They're just Evertonians on the board, the same as everybody in the room, and they just asked to be treated as such. I think it was a really open and constructive meeting at the Winslow tonight. I personally came away feeling up for the fight, feeling energised, and really looking forward to Sunday's game against Manchester United. That is all for today. I just wanted to quickly recap the meeting held tonight at the Winslow from the Football Advisory Board, the Fan Advisory Board, with the Evertonians, and really just look forward to Sunday's game against Manchester United. I will be with Follow Everton on Friday, I believe, with a Man United preview. So if I don't see you before then,